Good morning, all of you. Shall we start the class? So far, we have completed Unit 1 and 2. Today, we are going to start Unit 3. This particular unit discussed with the production analysis and the cost analysis. Today, we will see what is the meaning of production and what are the factors of production and how they are remunerated, and then a definition of production function. Tomorrow we will see input output decision. Shall we start? There are many definitions available in the for the term production. Different authors have defined that particular term in different ways. The following definition suits good. The definition goes like this: production is a process or method used to transform the tangible inputs. Here the tangible input means raw material, semi-finished goods and sub-assembles. The tangible input and the intangible input, ideas, information, knowledge, it is intangible because it is qualitative. Into the required output, what we have, this kind of output that should be produced into a required output, that is called production. I will repeat again. Production is a process or method used to transform the tangible inputs and the intangible input into required output is called production. We can make it as a simple way. Production is a process of converting the raw material into finished product or input into output. This is called production. Suppose when we discuss in depth about the production, normally the production means creation of goods. For example, a blacksmith, blacksmith means he who work in iron. Blacksmith produce the iron chain, and the carpenter is producing wooden box. So this is called production. In economic sense, this view is very different. Why? Because, wait, I'm admitting your friends. A blacksmith has changed the form of iron, which is a free gift of nature. Definitely, because we are getting ore from the earth, and they are not producing. For that, they are not paying anything. And similarly, the carpenter is changed the shape of the wood. It is free of gift from the nature. In both cases, the production is not a creation of goods, but only we are changing the form. The carpenter is not producing on his own. Already it is there. A wooden piece is there. He is just changing the shape. That is why the economic view is very different from the other views. The man is using extracted from the nature and provide a new form in order to make it useful than before. In easy words, creating more utility is called production factors. So we cannot say he produced that. Already the raw material is available in the nature. In the nature, there are factors of production is there. He is just converting the shape. Converting this shape, we used to call it as production. Therefore, production in economics means creating a new utility. Suppose a product is produced for a particular purpose, it can be used for other purpose also. Means it's considered to be a new product only for that particular field. So that is why a normal view is different from economic view. Creation of a new utility includes three categories. What are the three categories? One is the form utility, place utility, and time utility. Based on these three only, we are going to list out these are the production. By changing the shape in the thing gifted by the nature is called form utility. That is, there is a tree and it has been cut and the carpenter made a chair. Then it is called form utility. Here I have given an example. Iron ore into steel and wood into a furniture are the production of form utility. I hope you understand. Coming to second type, moving the things from one place of abundance to a place of scarcity is called production or place utility. Suppose in Sivagasi there are a number of crackers is there. It is moved to other side. Here also there will be one particular shop or there it is available. Then he will say he will only the processing he will do. But actual manufacture will be there. Here you will make only the availability from the abandoned supply place to the required place. If we transfer, it is called place utility. And the third one, increasing the value of thing by means of transferring from time of abundance or time of scarcity is called, in this pandemic situation, the mask and gloves and sanitizer, definitely it is called time utility, because the sanitizer is very low price. Today, if you go and buy, it is little bit, it's double the price. So the utility is divided into three categories. One is form utility, place utility, and time utility. So how all this production is coming from the factors of production. Factors of production means the agent of production. Any product consists of four factors. As I already said, the factors are land, labor, capital, and organization. For each factor, the remuneration criteria for the manager decision making is different. Why? Because for land, we are paying the rent. For the laborer, we have to pay the wage. Similarly, for the investment, the remuneration factor is the interest. And for entrepreneurship or organization, profit will be the remuneration. So there are four factors of production: land, labor, capital, and organization. For that, rent, wage, interest, and profit will be the remuneration respectively. Nowadays, the technology also considered as a fifth factor of production. In old book, it is not there. In recent books, we consider the fifth factor of production will be the technology. The factors of production are classified into two categories. One are some factors are fixed and some factors are variable. Which is a fixed factor? Land is a fixed factor. The other three are variable factor. The human activities are divided into two categories. One is production side, the other one is consumption side. Production is a process of converting the factors of production into the required output. That means by using land, labor, capital, and organization, we are producing what is required for us, we are producing. That is called production. The same output is classified referred as land, labor. That is, the input is nothing but the land, labor, capital, and organization. But when we combine in different level and we produce one particular product, for administrating these three, the fourth factor, organization, will be in the C. The goods and services do not produce themselves, but need more conscious process in order to plan and implement the manufacturing. Suppose I want to sit a chair. What I have to do? I need a place to produce that. So I have to get a tree from land, and I will appoint a carpenter for producing that. For that, I have to pay. So these three should be administrated. The fourth factor, organization, will come in the scene. This thought process is often called entrepreneurship or organization. Now I will display one flow chart. This will give a better idea. You can explain the concept. Factors of production means if you write this particular flow chart, that will give. So there are four factors of production: land, labor, capital, and organization. If you want to say about the land, definitely this land is a free gift of nature. We cannot change the land. Total availability of land in the earth is the same. So, but we are using, by making some system, we are saying this land belongs to government, this land belongs to private party, this land belongs to all these things. But understand, this is a fixed supply. Secondly, it is imperishable. Then out of four factors, this factor is considered to be the primary factor. It will not move. So it is an immovable factor of production. Finally, the land quality differs from place to place. So that is why it differs in fertility. These are the feature of a land. So for production, land is the fixed factor. It has these features. What are the features? Free gift of nature, fixed in supply, imperishable. This is a primary factor, and it is immovable, and the land differs its fertility from place to place. The next best factor of production is labor. Understand that compared to other two factors of production, it has more perishable because we can rotate. Suppose a person is not fit for the job, you can remove him and we can appoint somebody else. So the performance is reducing means, or we don't require that particular labor, definitely there won't be that workforce will not be there. So it is more perishable than the other factors. Of course, this is the active factors of production. Based on this particular factor only, we are converting input to output. Without labor, nothing can be produced. we should keep in mind that they are not homogeneous. Homogeneous in the sense one worker may have some skill, the other worker may not be a equal skill. It may be more than that or less than that. That is why the labor force is heterogeneous, not homogeneous. The most advantageous factor is this particular factor of production can move from one place to another. You can transfer the labor force from one place to another. So the highest thing is the bargaining power of the entrepreneurship based on this particular manpower only. So these are the features of labor. So land is immovable, labor is movable. That is fixed factor, this is variable factor. That is imperishable, it is highly perishable. And it is has a fixed supply, but here we can vary, either increase or decrease. So these are the difference between land and labor. Coming to the third factor, capital. Without this, nothing will happen. Why? Because it is related to the money. The passive factor of a production is called capital. Man-made factor of that particular thing, that money or belongings, it is created by the man. It is not nature, it is by man only. Our monetary system or currency system, we have framed something. The governor is giving, I authorize for 100 rupees, he is signing, we created the money. So this particular thing, it is not related to the nature, it is a man-made factor of production. The compared to labor, this has a highest mobility. Of course, labor is a mobility feature is there, but compared to labor, capital is having high mobility. There are different forms. It may be a draft, it may be a check, it may be a liquid money, it may be gold, whichever be. There will be different forms in the capital. The main thing is what we have to say is this particular capital is otherwise called human capital is also there. The labor is considered to be a human capital because if you advise or if you appoint an advisor solicitor, they are not considered as a labor, they are considered as a human capital. For that we have to pay that. All the consultancy service coming under not the labor, it is coming under the capital. We used to call capital as a human capital. Coming to fourth one, all these is land, labor, capital. We have to administrate. For that, we introduce the fourth factor of production called organization. The feature of this particular factor of production, it will identify the profitable opportunities. It will decide the location of it. Will decide where we have to do the business, and it decides the reward payments for all. For land, we are paying rent. For laborer, we are paying wage. For capital, we are paying. Only the organization decide how much to pay, and it will give way for how to handle the uncertain situation, and it will take risk. Finally, this one is considered to be the dominant factor compared to other three. Suppose if they ask in section B, draw this particular flowchart and explain each factor with the 4 or 5 features. Now we are coming to the actual part of the answer. What is production function is? Production function, I already told you. Production is a process of converting input into output, that is raw material into required output. This production process method is of physical transforming of physical output. For that, we have to construct some function. The production function provides a list of possible state of technology and manageability of different combination of factors of production. How much land should be used, how many laborers are to be used, how much money to be invested, all these things this production function will give. That is why they give one equation, Q equal to function of A plus A, B, C. Here A, B, C are nothing but input factors. So how this particular input is converted into output is called production function. There are many definitions are available, but I have given G.J. Stigler. This particular definition is very suitable for defining the production function. According to him, the production function is a name given to the relationship between rates of input of productive services and the rate of output of the product. That means how the land, labor, capital organization integration of these 4 converted into required output is called production function. Understand one thing, we are also using the technological factor. That is why the Stigler have rightly pointed out, production function is a name given to the relationship between the rates of output of productive service and the rate of output of product, where the economist summary is with the technological knowledge. We are keeping technology as a concept. The term production function also defined as production function is a statement or equation which shows different combination of input factors. What are the input factors? Land, labor, capital, organization. Input factors of service with a rate of output of respective combination of input given period with the time and technology. So these two definition suits for the production function. Now I am going to classify what are the types of production function. Last time they have asked what are the types of production function. So what you have to do, first you have to say what is production is, then you have to define what is production function, and then you have to give the classification. This particular classification made in two different way. One is based on the proportion of input, how much land, how many laborers, what is the level of capital, how administrative status. Based on that, we can classify the production function. The second one is the functional relation, how the input and output has the relation, whether it is labor intensive or capital intensive. The third one is the degree of input substitution. Instead of labor, we can employ machine. Instead of machine, we can make a handcraft. So based on the degree of input substitution, we can classify the production function. First, we will see about the input. Based on the proportion of the input, the production function can be classified into two categories. What are the two categories? Number one is fixed proportion production function. Then the other one will be variable proportion production function. Suppose if the production is based on the land area, then it is fixed proportion. Suppose it is with the labor or capital, then it is variable proportion. So which has more priority, that decides. So based on the input proportion, we are dividing production function into two categories. One is fixed proportion production function. Number two is variable proportion production function. Now we are moving to the functional relationship. Understand one thing. The farmer is having a fixed combination of input and each level of output based on the technical reason and other thing. We are classified into two categories, fixed and variable. But now the functional, whenever we think about the functional relationship, that we have to say how they are related. That is whether it is linear, whether it is non-linear. Most of the time, the linear production function is called homogeneous production function. Non-linear means it is heterogeneous. So how they are, whether they are directly related or indirectly related, that is a direct proportional change from input to output means it is linear function. Suppose it is not direct, then it is not linear, it is non-linear. Based on the degree, there are different theory for production function. Our syllabus covers only the Cope-Douglas production function. Apart from that, there are two more production functions called Leontief production function and CES production. CES means constant elasticity of substitution production function. So how we have to classify the production function? First one based on the input proportion, fixed and variable. So based on the function linear and non-linear. Based on the degree of substitution, there are three types: Cope-Douglas production function, Leontief production function, and CES production function. Now we will, based on our syllabus, this Cope-Douglas is included in our syllabus. This particular production function was framed by two economists, Charles W. Cope and Paul H. Douglas. These two people have conducted a survey from 1899 to 1922, nearly 30 years, sorry, 23 years. They have conducted a survey in America about the production function, how the input are made, have been converted into required output. They have taken two factors of production. One is capital, another one is labor. So based on that study and collection of data, they framed one equation. That equation is evergreen equation. Why? Because even today, if you apply, that suits well. That particular production function is considered to be a linear production function and it has a limited extent. Suppose in a particular organization, the capital and the labor are treated as a factors of production by not considering the land and the administration. The production function can be expressed with this equation: Q equal to A into K power A L power B. Here the Q is considered to be the output. How we can going to get this particular production level? For that, this capital A is a positive constant, and here K represents the capital and L represents the labor. The small a and b are positive fraction of elasticity. We have studied price elasticity. Now it ranges from 0 to 1. So when we add these two, definitely it will be equal to 1. So A plus B equal to 1. So 0.5, suppose A means 0.5 will be B. So there are three different return to scale are available. Suppose if these two are equal to 1, then it is called constant elasticity. Suppose it is less than 1, we have to say it is decreasing return to scale. Suppose it is more than 1, then we have to say the product from the input, the output is more than proportion. In the second case, from the input, the output is less than proportion. So that is why there are three different forms in that particular Cobb-Douglas reduction function. One is the constant return to scale. Normally, this one they will ask. Suppose if they ask constant elasticity, it is nothing but A plus B equal to 1. Suppose it is less than 1, what we have to say? It is decreasing return to scale. Suppose it is more than 1, then we have to say it is a increasing return to scale. Under constant elasticity of substitution or constant return to scale, B equal to 1 minus A. Why? Because A plus B equal to 1. So what is B? 1 minus A. So we can convert that particular Cobb-Douglas reduction function as quantity Q equal to a positive capital A. Here it is capital A. I wrongly mentioned small a. I will change. A into K represent capital K power A. A is a positive fraction. Then L is a labor, L power 1 minus A. Why it is 1 minus A? B equal to 1 minus A. So L power B, instead of saying B, we are saying 1 minus A. Then it becomes linear and homogeneous production function. Definitely you can expect this particular question. Explain Cobb-Douglas production function. Then what you have to write? First you should define what is production is. Then you have to define production function. Function of input equal to output. You have to define production function, and then you have to say what is the classification. There are three classifications. One is based on the input proportion. Second one is functional relation. Third one is the that particular degree of input. So based on that, in that degree of input, the Cobb-Douglas production come in the scene. We have to say the author name, Cobb and Douglas. From 1899 to 1922, they have conducted a survey with the production unit, and they have given the equation. That particular equation you have to write. What is A, what is K, what is L, and what is the positive fraction. Then if you write conversion Q equal to A power K and L power 1 minus A, then you can get full marks. With this, I am completing today's class. If you have any doubt,